If you are over 70 and your blood sugar climbs by the middle of the morning, no matter how careful you were the night before, I want you to hear something that most people never get told. The reason your number is high when you wake up has almost nothing to do with your breakfast, and very often it has nothing to do with your dinner either. Your own body raised it while you slept. You did not eat a single bite, and yet the number went up. That is not a mistake. That is not you doing something wrong. That is your body following an old, built-in program that made sense 40 years ago and works against you now. Here is the part that surprises people the most. For millions of older adults, the highest blood sugar of the entire day happens first thing in the morning. Before food, before coffee, before anything. Doctors have a name for this. They call it the dawn phenomenon. In the hours before you wake, somewhere around 3 in the morning to 8 in the morning, your body releases a wave of hormones. Cortisol, growth hormone, and a little adrenaline. These hormones have one simple job at dawn. They wake you up and give you energy to start the day. And the way they give you energy is by telling your liver to pour sugar into your blood. Sit with that for a moment. While you were asleep doing nothing, your liver was quietly releasing stored sugar into your bloodstream so you would have fuel to get out of bed. Your liver keeps a pantry of sugar for exactly this reason. When you were young, your body handled the morning release without a problem. Your insulin cleaned it up fast and you never noticed a thing. But as we age, the body gets slower at bringing that morning sugar back down. The insulin still comes, but it does not work as sharply as it used to. Doctors call that insulin resistance, and it is common as we get older. So the sugar sits there. It builds. And by the time you sit down to breakfast, you are already starting from a high number. And then the food pushes it higher still. So here is the bold truth this whole video is built on. You cannot fix your morning blood sugar by fighting your breakfast alone. You have to work with the first 20 to 30 minutes after you open your eyes. That window, before you eat, is where the whole day gets decided. What you do in that window either calms the morning wave or pours fuel on it. And almost nobody over 70 is using that window on purpose. They wake up, they shuffle to the kitchen, they eat toast and juice and cereal, and they wonder why their number will not settle. The window was wide open, and they walked right past it. I have spent years reading the research on blood sugar in older adults, the studies on food timing, the studies on movement, the studies on how the plain order of your food changes everything. And I am going to walk you through all of it in simple words, the way I would explain it to my own parent across the kitchen table. No fancy talk, no shame, just what works, why it works inside your body, and exactly what to do tomorrow morning. Before I go one more step, I have to say one thing clearly, because it matters more than any single tip in this video. If you take medicine for your blood sugar, and many people over 70 do, then these habits work with your medicine, not instead of it. Some of these habits are strong. They can lower your numbers. And if you are on insulin, or on a pill in the family called sulfonylureas, names like glipizide, glyburide, or glimepiride, then lowering your numbers too fast can push you into a low. A low can make you shaky, sweaty, dizzy, and confused, and a bad low is dangerous. So do not stop your medicine. Do not skip your medicine. Talk to your doctor or your pharmacist before you make big changes. And keep checking your numbers the way you always do. The goal here is a steady, calm day, not a scary drop. Do it the smart way. And this becomes one of the safest, most useful things you can do for yourself. Now let me make you a promise so you know where we are going. By the end of this, you are going to understand 7 simple things you can do before and during breakfast that help your blood sugar stay steady, not just for an hour, but through the whole day. I am going to save the most powerful one for near the end, because it is the one that almost nobody over 70 is doing, and it is the one that carries the calm all the way to bedtime. Stay with me for that. It is worth the wait. There is also one single tablespoon of a common kitchen item that can soften your whole morning, and I will show you exactly how to use it so it helps and does not hurt. And near the close, I am going to give you full breakfast recipes, the kind you can make with your eyes half open. That put every single one of these ideas onto one plate. But before I hand you the 7 things, I want to answer the question sitting under all of it. Why does this even matter? Why should a person over 70 care so much about a spike after breakfast? And the answer is bigger than a number on a meter. So let me tell you, because once you feel why it matters, the habits become easy to keep. A blood sugar spike is not just a number that climbs. It is a wave that crashes. When your sugar shoots up high and fast after a sweet breakfast, your body panics a little and works hard to bring it down. And it often overshoots. So an hour or two later, your sugar crashes lower than where it started. That crash is what you feel as the mid-morning slump, the heavy eyes, the foggy head, the sudden, gnawing hunger that sends you back to the kitchen for a cookie or a second piece of toast, even though you just ate. That crash is why so many people over 70 feel tired and cloudy by 10 or 11 in the morning and blame their age. It is not only your age. A lot of the time, it is the spike and the crash from breakfast playing out in your body like clockwork. Steady blood sugar feels completely different. When your sugar rises gently and comes down gently, with no spike and no crash, you get steady energy that lasts. Your head stays clearer. Your mood stays more even. You are not ambushed by cravings, so you eat less without even trying. And over the long run, keeping your daily rises gentle is easier on your whole body, on your eyes, your nerves, your kidneys, your heart, all the places that quietly take the wear when blood sugar runs high day after day, year after year. So this is not about a number to please your doctor. This is about how you feel at 10 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. This is about your energy, your mind, and your comfort in your own body. That is what we are really after, a steady day. And a steady day starts in that quiet window before you eat. Before we walk through the 7 things, let me give you the plain picture of how blood sugar actually works inside you. Because when you understand the machine, the habits stop feeling like random rules and start feeling like common sense. And I am going to use a person to help me tell it, someone I will call Margaret, 73 years old, who did everything her doctor told her and still could not understand why her morning number would not behave. Margaret is not any one real person. She is every careful older adult I have ever talked to about this. And her story is your story, so listen for yourself in it. Blood sugar is simple at its heart. The sugar in your blood, glucose, is the main fuel your body runs on. Almost everything you eat, the bread, the rice, the potato, the fruit, even the milk, gets broken down into this sugar, and it travels in your blood to feed every cell you have, your muscles, your brain, your heart. So sugar in the blood is not the enemy. You need it. You would not last a day without it. The trouble is never that sugar exists. The trouble is when too much of it piles up in the blood and cannot get into the cells where it belongs. Now, how does the sugar get out of the blood and into the cells? That is the job of a hormone called insulin, made by a small organ behind your stomach called the pancreas. Think of insulin as a key. When you eat, sugar rises in your blood and your pancreas sends out insulin, the key, which unlocks the doors on your cells so the sugar can go inside and be used or stored. In a young, healthy body, this happens smoothly. Sugar goes up after a meal, insulin comes out, the doors open, the sugar goes in, and the blood sugar comes back down to steady. A gentle rise, a gentle return. That is the whole dance done right. So where does it go, the sugar that gets stored? 2 main places, your muscles and your liver. Your muscles are the biggest storage bank of all, which is why we keep coming back to them. And it is why moving your muscles is so powerful, because working muscles both burn sugar and make room to store more. Your liver keeps its own pantry of sugar too. And it is the liver that opens that pantry at dawn and pours sugar into your blood to wake you up. Keep that in mind, because it explains Margaret's mystery. Here is what changes as we age, and here is what happened to Margaret without her ever doing a thing wrong. Over the years, the doors on the cells get harder to open. The key, insulin, still comes out, but the locks are stiff, and they do not answer the key the way they used to. Doctors call this insulin resistance. It is very common after 70, and it is not a moral failure, and it is not because Margaret ate too much cake. It is partly just the wear of years, partly the slow loss of muscle that comes with age, partly less movement, and partly the way our bodies simply run slower over time. When the locks are stiff, the sugar cannot get into the cells easily, so it backs up in the blood. The pancreas notices the high sugar and works harder, pumping out more and more insulin to force the stiff doors open. For a while, that extra effort keeps things in line, but it is a tired system doing overtime, and over the years it struggles, and the blood sugar starts to run higher, especially in the morning, when the liver is already pouring in its dawn supply on top of everything. So picture Margaret at dawn. Her liver opens its pantry and pours sugar into her blood to wake her, just like it should. But her stiff locks are slow to let that sugar into her cells, and her tired pancreas cannot clear it fast enough. So the sugar sits in her blood, and she wakes to a high number, having eaten nothing at all. Then she pours a glass of orange juice and eats her white toast, fast sugar on top of an already high morning. And her number climbs higher and stays there. And by 10 in the morning, she feels foggy and tired and blames her age. Margaret is not doing anything wrong on purpose. She simply was never told how the machine works or which levers she can actually pull. And that is the whole point of everything I am about to give you. Every one of the 7 habits pulls one of these exact levers. Water thins the backed up sugar and helps the kidneys clear it. Movement opens a whole separate door on the muscle that does not need the stiff insulin lock at all. Protein, fiber, fat, the right order, and the vinegar all slow how fast new sugar floods in, so the tired system is not overwhelmed, and the walk after eating meets the flood at its peak and burns it down. You are not fighting your body. You are helping the parts that have gotten slow and working around the locks that have gotten stiff. Once you see it that way, it all makes sense. Let me also say a plain word about your numbers, because I want you to understand what you are looking at when you check, and I do not want you chasing the wrong thing. There are really 3 numbers that matter, and each tells you something different. The first is your fasting number, the one you get first thing in the morning before you eat. That is the dawn number we have been talking about, and it shows how your body handled the overnight. The second is your after-meal number, usually checked about 2 hours after you start eating. And that one shows how well your body handled that particular meal, whether it was a gentle hill or a sharp spike. The third is a number your doctor measures with a blood test called the A1C, and this one is special because it is not a single moment. It is an average of your blood sugar over the past 2 to 3 months, like a report card for the whole season instead of one day. Your daily readings are the day-to-day weather. Your A1C is the climate. Here is why I am telling you this. Everything in this video is aimed at softening your after-meal spikes and calming your fasting number. And when you do that day after day, your A1C, the season-long report card, gently comes down too, because it is just the average of all those steadier days added up. So you do not need to obsess over one high reading on one morning, because one day is just weather. You are playing the long game, the steady climate. What are the target numbers you should aim for? That is the one thing I will not hand you, because your right targets depend on your age, your health, your medicines, and your own situation, and only your doctor can set them for you. An older adult and a younger one may have different goals on purpose, because in later years, keeping steady and avoiding lows can matter as much as chasing a perfect number. So ask your doctor what your personal targets are, write them down, and aim for those. My job is to give you the tools that gently move you toward whatever targets your doctor sets. Your job with your doctor is to know what those targets are. Now, with the machine understood and the numbers clear, let us pull those levers, one at a time. So we start where the day starts. We start in that window, because if you get the morning window right, everything after it gets easier. Let me give you the very first thing to do, and it is so simple that most people will not believe it does anything at all. So stay with me, because there is real reason behind it. The first thing to do before breakfast is drink water. A real glass of it. Cool, plain water, right when you wake, before the coffee, before the food. And I know how that sounds. Water, that is the big secret. But hold on, because it ties directly into what we just learned about the dawn phenomenon, and it does more than you think. When you sleep, you do not drink for 7 or 8 hours. You also breathe out water all night long, and if your room is warm, you sweat a little too. So you wake up mildly dry every single morning, even if you do not feel thirsty. Now, when your body is low on water, your blood is a little more concentrated. Picture 1 spoon of sugar in a full glass of water, and then picture that same spoon of sugar in a half glass. The half glass is sweeter because the same sugar is packed into less water. Your morning blood is like that half glass. The sugar your liver poured in overnight is sitting in a smaller amount of fluid, so the number reads higher, and the sugar is harder for your body to move and use. There is more, and this is the part that surprised me when I learned it. When you are low on water, your body releases a hormone that tells your kidneys to hold onto fluid, so you do not dry out further. Researchers have found that this same hormone also nudges your liver to release even more sugar. So being dry in the morning is not a small thing at all. It can quietly add to the very morning rise we are trying to calm. A tall glass of water when you wake helps thin things out, helps your kidneys do their job of clearing the extra sugar out through your urine, and gently tells your body that the long dry night is over. It is small, but it is free, it is safe, and it sets the tone. And this is the theme of the entire morning. So let me say it plainly and come back to it again and again. We are not looking for one giant heroic act. We are stacking a series of small, smart moves in the right window, and each one is easy, and together they add up to a calm, steady day. Water is the first small move. It asks almost nothing of you. You can do it before your feet even feel fully awake. If you want that glass of water to do a little more, add a squeeze of fresh lemon. Not for magic. Lemon is not going to change your blood sugar by itself, and I will never tell you something works when it barely does. But a little lemon, or even a tiny pinch of salt, helps your body actually absorb and hold the water instead of running straight through you. And the taste makes it easier to drink the whole glass instead of 2 little sips. That is the honest reason. A habit only helps if you actually do it, so make it a glass you look forward to. And keep it by your bed if that helps you remember. So that is the first move. Water first, before coffee, before food, before anything. Let it settle for a few minutes while you get yourself together for the day. And in those few minutes, we are going to do the second thing, and this is where the real power begins. Because the second habit turns your own muscles into a blood sugar helper. Once you understand how it works, you will never look at a short morning walk the same way again. I promise you that. The second thing to do before breakfast is move your body, just a little. I am not talking about the gym. I am not talking about running or lifting or anything hard on your knees. I am talking about 10 minutes of gentle movement in that morning window. A slow walk around the house, or up and down the hallway, or around the yard if the weather is kind. Marching softly in place while the kettle heats, some easy arm circles. standing up and sitting back down from a sturdy chair a handful of times, holding the counter if you need to. Whatever your body can do that day. The type does not matter nearly as much as the simple fact that your big muscles start working. Here is why this is so powerful, and this is the part almost nobody explains to older adults. Your muscles are the biggest sugar sponge in your whole body. When a muscle contracts, when it actually works, it opens little doorways on its surface that pull sugar straight out of your blood and into the muscle to burn for energy. And here is the beautiful part, the part I want you to really hold on to. Those doorways open when the muscle moves, whether or not your insulin is working well. Let me say that again in a different way, because it is that important. Movement pulls sugar out of your blood without needing your insulin to be strong. Your muscles can do it on their own, just from the plain act of moving. It is a completely separate door, and it does not care how tired your insulin is. Now put that right next to the dawn phenomenon. In the morning, your liver has poured extra sugar into your blood, and your aging insulin is slow to clean it up. That sugar is floating around looking for somewhere to go. If you sit still, it has nowhere to go, so it lingers and the number stays high. But if you move your big muscles for even 10 minutes, you open thousands of those little doorways, and the muscles quietly drink the morning sugar down. You are giving that overnight sugar a job to do. You are burning it as fuel instead of letting it pile up. That is why a short morning walk can lower your number before you have eaten a single bite. And it gets better, because the effect does not stop the moment you stop walking. After your muscles work, they stay hungry for sugar and more willing to take it up for hours afterward, while they refill their own little fuel tanks. So that gentle 10 minutes before breakfast does not just help the morning number. It softens the way your body handles the breakfast that comes right after, and it helps carry the calm forward into the day. This is exactly what I meant about small moves stacking up. The water thins things out and helps the kidneys clear. The movement burns the overnight sugar and primes your muscles to keep working for you. And now, when you finally eat, your body is in a far better place to handle it. You have not touched food yet, and you are already ahead. How much movement, and what if walking is hard for you? Let me answer both, because I do not want anyone left out. 10 minutes is a lovely target, but if all you can manage on a stiff morning is 3 or 4 minutes, do the 3 or 4 minutes, because some is so much better than none, and it grows easier with time. If your knees or hips or balance make walking hard, you can do this sitting down. Sit in a sturdy chair and march your legs. Lift your knees one at a time. Straighten and bend each leg. Circle your arms. Squeeze your hands open and shut. Reach up and down. Seated movement still works your muscles, and working muscles still drink sugar. The goal is simply to wake your muscles up and get them contracting. Fancy is not required. Steady and gentle is the whole idea. I have to be honest and careful here, because this is exactly the kind of tip where the medicine warning comes back around. Movement lowers your blood sugar. That is the entire point, and it is a wonderful thing unless you are on insulin or one of those sulfonylurea pills, and your body is already running low. If you are on those medicines, please talk to your doctor about walking in the morning. Keep a fast sugar nearby just in case, such as a few glucose tablets or a small box of juice. And learn the signs of a low, which are feeling shaky, sweaty, dizzy, weak, or suddenly very hungry or confused. If you ever feel those, stop, sit somewhere safe, take your fast sugar and check your number. For most people, a gentle 10-minute walk is one of the safest and best things they can do for their whole body. But you know your own body and your own medicine, so do it with your care team in the loop. Doing it smart is what keeps it a blessing instead of a scare. So stay with me, because we have thinned the blood with water, and we have burned the overnight sugar with movement. And the morning window has done its quiet work. Now it is time to eat. And this is where most people over 70 make the one mistake that undoes everything they just did. They sit down and reach for the wrong plate. So the third thing is about what goes on that plate, and once you understand it, you will see why the usual breakfast is almost designed to spike you. The third thing is to change what your breakfast is built on. And to understand it, you have to understand what actually happens inside you when you eat. So let me take you through it slowly, because this is the key that unlocks all the rest. When food reaches your stomach and your gut, it gets broken down, and the sugar in it, the part we call glucose, passes through the wall of your gut and into your blood. The faster that sugar comes in, the higher and sharper your blood sugar climbs. The slower it comes in, the gentler the rise. So the whole game, the entire game, is about slowing down how fast the sugar from your food reaches your blood. Keep that one idea in your mind for the rest of this video, because every single tip from here on is really just a different way to slow the sugar down. Water, movement, the plate, the order, the vinegar, the walk, every one of them is the same idea wearing a different hat. Slow the sugar down. Now look honestly at the classic breakfast that so many older folks eat. A glass of orange juice, a bowl of sweet cereal, or a couple pieces of white toast with jam. Maybe a sweet pastry or a muffin. What do all of those have in common? They are fast sugar with almost nothing to slow it down. Fruit juice is the worst offender, and I want you to really hear this, because juice has a healthy reputation it does not deserve. When you eat a whole orange, you get the sugar wrapped inside fiber, and that fiber slows everything down. But when you squeeze that orange into juice, you throw the fiber away and keep only the fast sugar. A single glass of orange juice can carry the sugar of 3 or 4 oranges with none of the fiber to slow it. It hits your blood like a splash of syrup. On top of a morning that is already running high from the dawn phenomenon, it is like pouring fuel on a fire that was already burning. White toast and sweet cereal are not far behind. White flour is basically sugar that has not turned sweet yet. Your body breaks it down into glucose almost as fast as it breaks down candy, because all the slowing fiber has been stripped out to make it soft and white. So the usual breakfast, the one that looks so normal and harmless sitting there on the table, is fast sugar on top of fast sugar, landing on a morning that was already high. No wonder the number climbs and will not come down. It was never a fair fight. So what do we build the breakfast on instead? 3 things that slow the sugar down: protein, fiber, and healthy fat. These 3 are the breaks, and I want to spend real time on each, because understanding them is what lets you build a good breakfast out of anything in your kitchen, not just the ones I hand you. Protein first. Protein is food like eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, a little fish or chicken, and the protein inside beans, lentils, and nuts. Protein does several helpful things at once. It slows how fast your stomach empties, so the sugar arrives slower. It signals your body to release its own helper hormones that prepare you to handle the meal. And it keeps you full and satisfied for hours, so you are not hunting for a snack an hour later. There is something else about protein that matters a great deal after 70, and it is often missed. As we age, we slowly lose muscle, and muscle, remember, is our biggest sugar sponge. Eating enough protein, spread through the day and started at breakfast, helps you hold onto that muscle, which helps your blood sugar in the long run, and helps you stay strong on your feet. So a good scoop of protein at breakfast is doing double duty. It steadies this meal, and it protects the very muscle that steadies every meal. Most older adults Do not eat enough protein at breakfast. A couple of eggs or a cup of Greek yogurt or a serving of cottage cheese is a good, simple start. Fiber second. Fiber is the tough part of plants that your body cannot fully break down, and it comes in two kinds and both help, but one is the quiet star. There is the rough kind, found in the skins and stalks of vegetables and in whole grains, which keeps you regular and adds bulk. And then there is the soft kind, the soluble kind, which is the one I want you to fall in love with. Soluble fiber turns into a soft gel when it meets liquid in your gut. You find it in oats, in chia seeds, in ground flaxseed, in beans and lentils, and in the fiber supplement called psyllium. That gel is a marvel. It physically slows the sugar from reaching your blood right there in your gut, like a net that catches the sugar and lets it through slowly instead of all at once. If you have ever soaked chia seeds and watched them turn into a soft pudding, you have seen soluble fiber form its gel with your own eyes. A spoon of chia or ground flax stirred into your breakfast is a tiny move with a long reach. And I will come back to just how long that reach is, because it stretches all the way to your lunch. Start slow with fiber if you're not used to it. Add a little at a time and drink plenty of water with it, so your body adjusts gently and comfortably. Healthy fat third. Fat has been unfairly feared for years, but the right fats are your friend at breakfast. Healthy fat is food like nuts, avocado, olive oil, seeds, and the fat that comes naturally with eggs. Fat is the strongest brake of all on how fast your stomach empties. Add a little healthy fat to a meal and the whole thing moves through you slower, so the sugar trickles in. Fat also makes food taste good and keeps you satisfied, which matters, because a breakfast you enjoy is a breakfast you will actually keep eating. A handful of nuts, a spoon of nut butter, a few slices of avocado, a drizzle of olive oil on your eggs. Small amounts, big effect. You do not need a lot. Fat is rich, so a little goes a long way. When your breakfast is built on those three, protein, fiber, and healthy fat, the whole meal moves through you slower. The sugar trickles in instead of flooding in. And a gentle trickle is a gentle rise, and a gentle rise is a steady morning. Let me give you the picture that makes this stick forever. Imagine pouring a bucket of water through a screen door versus pouring it through a thick sponge. Through the screen, it all rushes through at once, a flood. Through the sponge, it comes out slow, in a controlled drip. A fast breakfast of juice and white toast is the screen door. A breakfast built on protein, fiber, and fat is the sponge. Same water, completely different result. So the third habit in one plain sentence is this. Build your breakfast on protein, fiber, and healthy fat, and treat fast sugars like juice, sweet cereal, and white toast as the rare exception, not the everyday base. Do that, and you have put the brakes on the meal before it even starts. Now, I told you at the very start that there was a single tablespoon that can soften your whole morning, and it is coming, I promise. But before I hand it to you, I want to give you something even more powerful, and it does not cost a penny, and it is not a food at all. It is an order, the plain order you eat your food in. This is the fourth thing, and when I first learned it, I could hardly believe something so simple could matter so much. So let me show you the research, and then let me show you exactly how to do it at your own table. The fourth thing is to eat your food in the right order. Save the starchy, sugary part of your breakfast for last, and eat your protein, your fat, and your vegetables or fiber first. Same food, same plate, same amount, you just change the order of the bites. And it changes your blood sugar in a way that sounds too good to be true until you understand why. Researchers at a medical center in New York ran a study that stuck with me for years. They took people with blood sugar trouble and gave them the exact same meal on different days. On one day, they had them eat the bread and starchy part first, then the protein and vegetables. On another day, they flipped it. Vegetables and protein first, then the starch at the very end. And when people ate the starch last, after the protein and vegetables, their blood sugar spike after that meal was dramatically lower. We are not talking about a tiny difference you would need a microscope to see. We are talking about the spike being cut by a large amount, roughly by a third or more, just from changing the order of the bites. Nothing else changed. Same meal, same food, same portions, only the order. And they saw the same kind of result across more than one study, which is what makes me trust it. Why on earth would that happen? It comes right back to our one big idea, slowing the sugar down. When you eat protein, fat, and fiber first, a few things happen inside you all at once. First, they slow down how fast your stomach empties into your gut. Your stomach is like a sink with a drain. And protein and fat partly close that drain, so the food leaves slowly, which means the sugar arrives slowly. Second, when protein hits your gut, it signals your body to release its own helper hormones, the ones that tell your body to get ready to handle the coming meal. And it releases them before the sugar even shows up. So by the time the starch arrives at the end, your gut is already coated, already slowed, and already prepared for it. The starch simply cannot rush in, because you built a wall of protein and fiber in front of it. You laid down the sponge before you poured the water. This is such a gift because it costs nothing and asks nothing of you except a small change of habit. You do not eat less. You do not give up your toast or your oatmeal. You just eat your eggs first, and your vegetables first, and your toast last. You have your yogurt and berries and nuts before you touch the granola. You finish the savory part of the plate, and then you enjoy the bready or starchy part at the end, slowly, on top of everything else. Same breakfast, gentler rise. I want you to try this tomorrow even if you do nothing else in this whole video, because it is the easiest win here. Protein and vegetables first, starch last. Say it with me so it sticks in your bones. Protein and vegetables first, starch last. Whisper it to yourself at the table until it becomes the natural way you eat. Let me make it real with a plain example so you can picture it. Say your breakfast is scrambled eggs, a little sauteed spinach, and one slice of whole grain toast. The old way, most people take a bite of toast, a bite of egg, a bite of toast, all mixed together. And the toast is often the first thing they reach for because it is right there and easy. The new way, you eat all your eggs first and all your spinach, and only when those are gone do you eat your toast, on top of a stomach that is already coated and slowed. Or say your breakfast is oatmeal with yogurt, berries, and nuts. Eat the yogurt and nuts and berries first, the protein and fat and fiber, and eat the plain oats last. It feels a little strange for the first day or two, and then it becomes second nature, and your morning number quietly thanks you for it. And now, at last, the tablespoon, because it fits right into this idea of preparing your gut before the starch arrives. The fifth thing, and the 1 tablespoon I promised you, is a spoon of vinegar, taken the smart way, a little before or along with your breakfast. Plain apple cider vinegar, or any vinegar you like the taste of, 1 tablespoon stirred into a full glass of water. Not straight, never straight, always in water. And here is why it earns its place at the table. When you take a little vinegar before a meal that has starch in it, the vinegar does 2 helpful things inside you. The acid in vinegar, called acetic acid, slows down how fast your stomach empties, just like protein and fat do, so once again the sugar arrives slower. On top of that, the acid gets in the way of the little tools your gut uses to break starch down into sugar. When those tools work slower, the starch turns into blood sugar slower, and the spike is softer. Studies have found that a spoon of vinegar before a starchy meal can meaningfully lower the blood sugar rise that follows. It is not a miracle, and I will never pretend it is. It is a modest, honest helper that stacks on top of everything else we are doing. And that is the whole spirit of this. We are not chasing one miracle. We are stacking small, honest helpers, one on top of another until the whole morning is calm. The vinegar is one more brick in the wall. Now let me protect you, because vinegar is acidic, and I do not want it to cause a new problem while it eases an old one. Always dilute it in a full glass of water, because straight vinegar can burn your throat and can hurt the soft lining of your food pipe. And that is especially true for older adults, whose tissues are more delicate. Sip it through the meal or right before it, not on a totally empty stomach if it bothers you. After, rinse your mouth with plain water, because acid is hard on tooth enamel. And wait a little while before you brush, so you are not scrubbing softened enamel. If you have a stomach ulcer, acid reflux, gastritis, or any trouble with acidic foods, or if you take certain medicines like water pills or some heart and diabetes medicines, check with your doctor or pharmacist first, because vinegar can affect a few of them. Used with a little care in water, 1 diluted tablespoon is a small, safe helper. Used carelessly, straight from the bottle, it is a sore throat and a dentist visit waiting to happen. So do it the smart way, in water always. And if you truly cannot stand the taste, a squeeze of lemon in water gives you a gentler version of the same acid. Or you can simply lean harder on the other habits, because the vinegar is a helper, not a requirement. Let me pause right here and pull the whole thread together, because we have covered a great deal. And I promised I would repeat the core message in different ways, so it truly sinks in and stays. Here is where we are. The reason your morning blood sugar runs high is mostly your own body. Through the dawn phenomenon, pouring stored sugar into your blood while you sleep, faster than your aging insulin can clean it up. You cannot fix that by fighting your breakfast alone. You have to use the quiet window before you eat. And then eat in a way that slows the sugar down. So you drink water to thin the blood and help your kidneys clear the extra sugar. You move your body for 10 gentle minutes, so your muscles drink the overnight sugar down without even needing strong insulin. You build your plate on protein, fiber, and fat, the breaks instead of fast sugar. You eat in the right order, protein and vegetables first, starch last, so the sugar arrives slow. And you sip 1 diluted tablespoon of vinegar to slow it down even more. Every one of these is the same idea, wearing a different hat. Slow the sugar down. Give it somewhere to go. Turn a sharp, dangerous spike into a gentle, easy hill. That is the whole philosophy in one breath. But I told you the most powerful habit was near the end, the one almost nobody over 70 is doing. The one that carries the calm all the way to bedtime. We are nearly there. Before I give it to you, I have to explain one more thing about how breakfast works. Because it is the secret bridge that connects your morning to your entire day. And it is the reason the promise here is steady blood sugar all day, and not just all morning. It is called the second meal effect, and it might be the most hopeful idea in this whole video, so lean in for it. The sixth thing to understand is this: what you do at breakfast does not just affect breakfast. It sets the pattern for lunch and even reaches toward dinner. Scientists noticed something strange many years ago, something that almost sounds like a trick. When people ate a breakfast that kept their blood sugar low and steady, with plenty of fiber and protein, their blood sugar was also lower and steadier after lunch, hours later, even when lunch was the exact same meal for everyone. The breakfast reached forward in time and calmed the next meal. They named it the second meal effect. And it is real, and it is entirely on your side. How can a breakfast affect a lunch that has not even happened yet? There are a couple of reasons, and they are beautiful once you see them. Remember that soft, soluble fiber, the kind in oats and chia and beans. That fiber is not really digested by you. It travels all the way down to your lower gut, where trillions of tiny helpers live, the friendly bacteria that make their home there. Those bacteria feast on the fiber, and when they do, they release gentle little compounds that travel through your body and make your muscles and your liver more willing to handle sugar for hours afterward. So the fiber you eat at 8 in the morning is still working for you at noon, through the helpers in your gut, making your lunch land softer. That is not a figure of speech. That is real biology happening in your belly while you go about your morning. On top of that, a steady breakfast keeps your blood sugar from spiking and then crashing. And a crash, remember, is what makes you ravenous and shaky, and reaching for fast sugar in the middle of the morning. A steady breakfast keeps your appetite calm and even, so you make better choices at lunch almost without trying, because you are not sitting down to lunch starving and desperate. You are sitting down calm and in control. This is why breakfast is the most important meal for your blood sugar. Not because of some old saying your grandmother repeated, but because of the actual machinery inside you. Breakfast is the first domino of the day. Knock it over gently, and the rest of the day falls into place gently. Knock it over hard with juice and sweet cereal, and the rest of the day becomes a struggle of highs and crashes and cravings that you spend all day chasing. So when we build a slow, steady breakfast, we are not just buying ourselves a calm morning. We are buying a calmer afternoon and a calmer evening too. That is the all-day part. That is how one good breakfast reaches forward and steadies the whole day, right up to bedtime. And that brings us finally to the seventh thing, the most powerful habit, the crown jewel, the one I have been saving, the one almost nobody over 70 is doing. It is so simple that you might be tempted to shrug it off, and I am asking you, please do not. Because this is the one that ties everything together and carries the calm from morning all the way to night. Here it is. After you eat your breakfast, do not sit down. Take a short, easy walk. 10 to 15 minutes, right after the meal, while the food is still moving through you. I know, we already talked about walking before breakfast, and now I am telling you to walk after too. But this is different, and this after-meal walk is the single most effective thing in this entire video. So let me tell you exactly why, and let me tell you why the timing, right after the meal, is the whole secret that makes it work. Remember what we learned about muscles. When your muscles work, they open their doorways and drink sugar straight out of your blood, no strong insulin required. Now think carefully about when your blood sugar is at its very highest. It is in the 30 to 90 minutes right after you eat, when the sugar from your food has finished breaking down and flooded in. That window is the peak. That is the spike we have been trying to soften this entire time. So what happens if you are gently walking, right at that peak? With your muscles open and thirsty, and pulling sugar out of your blood exactly when there is the most sugar to pull. The spike gets shaved down. The peak that would have climbed high and stayed high instead gets caught and used and burned, right as it is happening, in real time. You meet the wave as it rises and you take the top off it. Study after study has shown this, and the results are striking. A short walk after a meal, even just 10 or 15 minutes, can lower the blood sugar spike after that meal by a large amount. And here is the key detail. It is not a stroll 3 hours later when the sugar has already come and gone. It is a stroll right after, catching the peak as it rises. Timing is everything. And you do not have to walk fast or far. An easy, gentle pace is enough, because you are not trying to exercise hard or break a sweat. You are just giving your muscles something to do, so they mop up the sugar. Around the block, up and down the driveway a few times. Around the inside of the house if the weather is bad or your legs are tired. 10 to 15 minutes. That is it. That is the most powerful habit in this whole video. And almost nobody over 70 is doing it. Because the whole world tells us to sit down and rest after we eat. Rest after eating feels natural and cozy. But sitting down right after breakfast is the exact opposite of what your blood sugar needs. Sitting lets the spike climb high and sit there. Walking catches it and burns it down. And here is why this one carries the calm all day, connecting straight back to the second meal effect we just talked about. When you shave down that breakfast spike with a walk, you keep your blood sugar in a gentle, steady range from the very start of the day. You avoid the big spike, and just as important, you avoid the crash that always follows a big spike. No spike, no crash, no mid-morning craving, no shaky reach for a cookie at 10:30. You start steady, and steady begets steady, thanks to the second meal effect carrying it forward toward lunch. One gentle walk after breakfast can set the calm tone for every single hour that follows. So if you do only one thing from this entire video, if you forget everything else I have said, remember this one. Walk after breakfast. It is the crown jewel. It is the difference maker. Let me answer the questions that come up the moment I say this, because I want you to actually do it and not talk yourself out of it. How fast should you walk? Slow is fine. Truly slow is fine. You are not exercising to get your heart pounding. You are simply giving your muscles a gentle task, so they open their doors and drink the sugar down while it is at its peak. A relaxed, easy pace does the job. In fact, researchers have found that even a couple of minutes of light movement after a meal can start to blunt the rise. And that standing and puttering, rather than sitting, is already better than nothing. So if 15 minutes feels like too much on a stiff day, do 5. If 5 is too much, do 2. If 2 is too much, then at the very least, do not sink into your chair. Stand up and wash the breakfast dishes, or tidy the kitchen, or step out onto the porch and back a few times. Standing and light movement is far better for that spike than sitting still. Something beats nothing always, and something is usually easier than you fear once you begin. How long after eating should you start? Right away is best, within a few minutes of finishing, because you want to be moving when the sugar is climbing to its peak, which is in that first hour after the meal. Do not wait an hour and sit through the whole spike first. And do not tell yourself you will walk later in the afternoon, because later misses the peak entirely. The magic is in the timing. Eat, then move, while the food is still working through you. And what if you truly cannot walk at all, because of your knees or your balance or your breath? Then do it seated, the way we talked about, marching your legs, lifting your knees, straightening and bending each leg, circling your arms, for 10 or 15 minutes right after you eat. Seated movement still works your muscles, and working muscles still catch the sugar. Nobody is left out of this. Every single person watching can move something after breakfast, and moving something is the whole point. And here is a gentle picture of why the easy pace is enough, so you trust it. When your muscles work, even a little, they burn some of their own stored fuel, and then they want to refill their tanks. And they refill those tanks by pulling sugar out of your blood. So a slow walk is not just burning the sugar you are walking on. It is emptying your muscles a little so they turn around and soak up the sugar from your breakfast to refill. That is why gentle is enough, and that is why the effect lingers for a good while after you stop. You do not have to earn it with sweat and struggle. You just have to move kindly at the right time. Once more, so it lives in you. Eat, then move while the sugar is rising. That single habit, done after breakfast every day, is the closest thing to a secret in this whole video. And now it is not a secret to you anymore. Now once more the careful word, because this habit is powerful, and powerful things deserve respect. Walking after meals lowers your blood sugar, and that is exactly what we want. But if you are on insulin or a sulfonylurea pill, that lowering can stack with your medicine and take you too low. So if you are on those medicines, please plan your after-meal walks together with your doctor. Keep a fast sugar in your pocket and know the signs of a low, which are feeling shaky, sweaty, dizzy, weak, confused, or suddenly starving. If you ever feel those on your walk, stop, sit down somewhere safe and take your fast sugar, then check your number before you carry on. For most people, a gentle walk after breakfast is safe and wonderful, and one of the best gifts you can give your body. But you know your own body and your own medicine. Do it smart, keep your care team in the loop, and this becomes the safest kind of powerful there is. So let me lay the whole morning out for you now, start to finish, as one simple flow. So it lives in your mind as a single easy routine, and not a pile of separate tips. Here is the flow. You wake up. Before anything else, you drink a tall glass of water, maybe with a little lemon. While it settles, you do 10 gentle minutes of movement, a slow walk or some easy standing and marching or seated leg lifts, so your muscles burn down the overnight sugar. Then you sit to a breakfast built on protein, fiber, and healthy fat, not fast sugar. You sip a diluted tablespoon of vinegar in water before, or with it, if you like it. You eat in the right order, protein and vegetables first, starchy things last. And then, the crown jewel, you get up and take a short, easy 10 to 15-minute walk to catch and shave down the spike. Water, move, build the plate, right order, vinegar, walk after. 6 easy beats. That is the whole thing, not one heroic act. A handful of small, smart moves stacked in the right window. Anyone can do it. You can do it tomorrow morning and every morning after. Before I give you the recipes, I want to spend a little time on the honest extras and on the sneaky traps, because I promise to go into the real details. And these are the details that separate people who get steady results from people who try hard and stay stuck. Stay with me, because a couple of these traps are hiding inside foods you have been told your whole life are healthy. Let me start with the traps, the sneaky sugars, the foods wearing a health costume. The first, we already named, is fruit juice, and it is worth naming twice because it fools so many good people. Orange juice, apple juice, grape juice, even the ones that say 100% juice with no sugar added. It does not matter that no sugar was added. The problem is the sugar that was already there, set loose from its fiber. Eat the whole fruit instead, and even then, choose the lower sugar fruits at breakfast. The second trap is granola, and this one hurts people because granola sounds so wholesome. Most store granola is oats glued together with honey, sugar, and syrup, then baked. It can carry as much sugar as a dessert. If you love granola, use just a small sprinkle on top of plain yogurt for crunch, not a big bowl of it as the base. The third trap is flavored yogurt. Plain yogurt is a wonderful, steady, protein-rich food. But the fruit-flavored cups, the ones with the fruit on the bottom, or the sweet flavors, are often loaded with added sugar, sometimes as much as a dessert. Buy plain yogurt and add your own berries for sweetness. You control the sugar that way, and there will be almost none. The fourth trap is those little instant oatmeal packets, especially the flavored ones like maple or brown sugar. They are usually made from finely ground oats that break down fast, plus a big load of added sugar. So the very oatmeal that should be steadying you spikes you instead. Use plain rolled oats or steel-cut oats, and sweeten them yourself with berries and cinnamon. The fifth trap is dried fruit, like raisins and dates and dried mango. Drying fruit removes the water and shrinks it down, so the sugar is packed tight into a small bite, and it is very easy to eat a lot of it fast. A few is fine as a topping, a handful is a sugar hit. And the sixth trap is the smoothie made wrong, all fruit and juice blended together, which is basically a glass of fast sugar. A smoothie can be good if it is built right, mostly with plain yogurt or protein, a little spinach, some seeds, and just a small amount of berries. But most smoothies people make and buy are sugar bombs in disguise. Watch for these six, because they are the ones that quietly undo good effort. Every one of them can be swapped for a steadier version, and the swap is usually simple. Whole fruit for juice, a sprinkle of granola for a bowl of it, plain yogurt with your own berries for the flavored cup, real oats for the instant packet, a few dried pieces for a handful, a protein-based smoothie for a fruit-based one. Now the honest helpers, the small extras that make everything above work even better. I have mentioned some, so let me gather them and add a few more plainly. Soluble fiber, first and again, because it is the quiet workhorse behind the second meal effect. A spoon of chia seeds or ground flaxseed stirred into your yogurt or oats is one of the highest value moves you can make. A tiny addition with a long reach that slows this meal and softens the next. Keep both in your kitchen. They cost little and last long. Cinnamon, second. And here I have to be truthful, because there is a lot of loud talk about cinnamon and blood sugar. And the honest picture is more modest than the loud talk. Some studies suggest a little cinnamon may help your body handle sugar a bit better. Other studies show almost nothing, so I will put it to you plain. A sprinkle of cinnamon on your oatmeal or yogurt is a lovely, safe way to add flavor without sugar, and it may lend a small helping hand. It is a nice extra. It is not a hero, so do not lean your whole plan on it. And a small caution, the common grocery store cinnamon, called cassia, has a natural compound that in very large daily amounts can be hard on the liver. So a sprinkle for flavor is fine, but do not start swallowing spoonfuls thinking more is better. With cinnamon, a light touch is the whole idea. Your coffee third, because I know for many of you, coffee is not negotiable, and I would never try to take it. Coffee itself is fine, and black coffee has almost no effect on blood sugar for most people. The trouble is never the coffee. It is what we pour into it. Sugar, flavored syrups, and sweetened creamers turn a harmless cup into a sugar delivery truck first thing in the morning, right on top of the dawn phenomenon. So enjoy your coffee, just make it work for you. Use a splash of real milk or cream instead of a sweet flavored creamer, and slowly train your taste away from sugar in the cup. If you must sweeten it, use a small amount, because once your tongue adjusts, a little tastes like plenty. And have it with or after your protein, not as a sweet drink on an empty stomach. Sleep fourth, and it happens the night before, not in the morning, but it changes your morning so much that I have to include it. When you do not sleep well, your body becomes more resistant to its own insulin the very next day, which means higher blood sugar even if you eat perfectly. Poor sleep also raises your stress hormone, cortisol, the same hormone behind the dawn phenomenon. So a rough night can make the morning wave even bigger and harder to calm. And stress does the same thing during the day, pouring out cortisol that tells your liver to release sugar. So protecting your sleep and finding small ways to calm your stress, a slow walk, a few deep breaths, time with people you love, a quiet hobby, prayer or reflection if that is your way, these are not soft extras with no effect on blood sugar. They pull the very same levers inside you that food and movement pull. A calm, rested body handles sugar better. That is just the plain biology of it, and it is worth as much as anything on your plate. Rhythm fifth, because your body loves a steady pattern. Try to eat your meals around the same times each day. And try not to graze all day long, nibbling here and there from morning to night. When you are always eating, your blood sugar never gets a chance to come back down and rest between meals. Give your body clear meals with clear gaps between them, so it can rise gently, come back to steady, and rest before the next one. A regular rhythm is its own kind of quiet medicine, and it costs nothing at all. Now, one important caution about timing, because I know some of you have heard about skipping breakfast or fasting for hours, and I want to be careful and honest with you rather than trendy. For some younger people, that can help. But for many people over 70, especially anyone on insulin or a sulfonylurea pill, going long stretches without food can be risky because it can drop your blood sugar too low, and a bad low is more dangerous for an older body than a moderate high. A low can cause a fall, and a fall at our age is no small thing. So please do not run off and start skipping meals because someone online said fasting fixes everything. If you want to try any change in your meal timing, and especially if you take medicine, do it with your doctor slowly and while watching your numbers closely. My advice for most of you over 70 is simple and safe. Do not skip breakfast. Just make it a smart, steady, slow one and walk after it. That works beautifully and keeps you safe. There is one more thing I have to tell you, and it surprises people, so stay with me. Your morning number, the fasting number you wake to, is not only made in the morning. A good part of it is set the night before. Remember, at dawn your liver opens its pantry and pours stored sugar into your blood. Well, what fills that pantry and how full it is, and how calm your body is going into the night, depends a great deal on your evening. So if you want to soften your mornings, you also want to be a little wise about your nights. Tomorrow morning, in a real way, starts tonight. Let me give you the evening habits that quietly steady your dawn number. And they are the same simple ideas, just move to the end of the day. First, take a short, easy walk after dinner too, the same 10 to 15 minutes, for the very same reason it works after breakfast. Your muscles catch and burn the dinner sugar at its peak, so you carry a calmer number into the night. And a calmer night often leads to a calmer morning. An evening stroll, even a slow one around the house or down the street, is one of the kindest things you can do for tomorrow's fasting number. Second, try not to eat a heavy, sugary, late dinner right before you lie down. When you eat a big load of fast sugar and then go straight to bed, that sugar has nowhere to go because you are lying still, and it lingers in your blood through the night. Give yourself a little gap, a couple of hours if you can, between your last big meal and your bed, so your body can settle before sleep. Third, build your dinner the very same way you build your breakfast. Protein, fiber, and healthy fat as the base, the starch eaten last, and go gentle on the sweet dessert. Or have just a small taste of it at the end of the meal on top of everything else, rather than a big bowl of ice cream alone before bed. And if you snack in the evening, and many of us do, reach for something steady, a few nuts, a little cheese, some plain yogurt, rather than cookies or sweets that spike you right as you are winding down. And then, of course, sleep, which I mentioned before but which belongs here too, because it is the bridge from your night to your morning. A good night of rest lowers your body's resistance the next day, which means a gentler morning number and an easier time with every meal that follows. A rough, short night does the opposite, and it can raise your stress hormone, the same one behind the dawn wave, making the morning harder. So protecting your sleep is not separate from your blood sugar. It is part of it. Wind down gently, keep your room cool and dark, ease off the screens and the worry as best you can, and let your body have its rest. Do these evening things, and you will often find that your morning has already improved before you even get out of bed, because you set it up kindly the night before. The day is a circle. A calm night leads to a calmer morning, and a calm morning leads to a calmer day. And a calm day leads you gently back to a calm night. You can step into that circle at any point, and once you are in it, it carries you. Let me also answer a few of the real-life questions I know some of you are thinking right now. Because your morning is your own, and it comes with its own hurdles. What if you have no appetite in the morning and food just does not appeal early? That is common as we age. You do not have to eat a big meal. Start tiny. A few spoons of Greek yogurt with a couple of berries, or a single boiled egg, or a small handful of nuts. Even a small protein start is better than juice and toast, and it turns on the calm from the beginning. And you can always eat a little more mid-morning once your appetite wakes up. What if money is tight and some of these foods sound expensive? The steadiest breakfast foods are some of the cheapest in the store. Eggs are cheap, plain oats are cheap, dried beans and lentils are cheap. Frozen berries are cheaper than fresh and work perfectly in oats and yogurt. A big tub of plain yogurt costs less per serving than the little flavored cups. You do not need fancy or costly food. You need simple, whole, steady food, and simple food is usually the affordable food. What if you wear dentures or need soft food? Every idea here can be soft. Scrambled eggs are soft. Overnight oats are soft. Yogurt is soft. Cooked beans are soft. Nut butter instead of whole nuts is soft. You lose nothing. And what if you already have diabetes and take medicine? Then everything here still helps you, and it may help you a great deal. But that is exactly when you must do it hand in hand with your doctor. Because as your numbers steady, your medicine may need adjusting, and only your doctor should make that call. Never adjust your own medicine. Bring your numbers to your doctor and let the two of you decide together. These habits make you a strong partner in your own care. They do not replace your care. Now I want to spend a few honest minutes on why steady days matter over the long run, not to frighten you, but because you deserve to know what you are actually protecting when you make these small choices each morning. Because a steady day is a good day for how you feel. But a string of steady days, month after month, year after year, is a quiet gift to your whole body. And I want you to see the parts you are being kind to. Think about your feet and your legs first. When blood sugar runs high for a long time, it can be hard on the tiny nerves. And the nerves in the feet are often the first to feel it. With tingling, numbness, or a strange burning, steady sugar is gentle on those nerves, and gentle nerves in your feet help you feel the ground, keep your balance, and stay steady when you walk, which at our age is worth more than gold, because staying on your feet is staying independent. Think about your eyes next, because the eyes are full of the smallest blood vessels in the whole body. And those tiny vessels do best when the sugar around them stays calm. Steady sugar is easier on your eyes over the years. Think about your kidneys, those patient filters that clean your blood day and night. High sugar makes them work harder over time, and steady sugar lets them do their quiet job in peace. Think about your heart and your blood vessels, because steady sugar is part of keeping the whole plumbing of your body flowing smoothly. And think about your brain and your memory, because your brain runs on that blood sugar. And it does its best thinking when the supply is steady, not spiking and crashing all day. Even your body's ability to heal a cut or fight off a bug tends to do better when your sugar is calm rather than running high. I am not telling you any of this to scare you. Fear is a poor teacher and it never lasts. I am telling you because I want you to feel in your bones that the small walk after breakfast and the eggs before the toast are not fussy little rules. They are how you take care of your feet, your eyes, your kidneys, your heart, your mind, and your independence, one calm morning at a time. That is what is really on the plate, And the beautiful thing is that your body does not hold a grudge. It responds to kindness quickly. Start being steady now at 70 or 75 or 80, and your body begins to benefit right away. It is never too late to be kind to it, and it is never too late for that kindness to matter. Which brings me to some myths I need to clear away, because of few false beliefs. Keep good people stuck no matter how hard they try, and I want you free of them. The first myth is, I do not eat much sugar, so my blood sugar should be fine. Here is the truth that changes everything. Your body turns starch into sugar. Bread, rice, potatoes, pasta, crackers, and cereal are not sweet on your tongue, but inside you they break down into the very same blood sugar as candy, and often just as fast. So a person can eat almost no sweets and still spike hard every single day on toast and cereal and potatoes. It is not only about what tastes sweet, it is about what turns into sugar inside you, and starch turns into sugar. Once you know that, the whole picture of your day makes sense. The second myth is that natural sweeteners like honey and agave and maple syrup are safe because they are natural. I understand the appeal and they are lovely foods, but I have to be straight with you. To your blood sugar, honey and agave and maple syrup are still sugar, and they still raise your blood sugar. Natural does not mean gentle. A spoon of honey spikes you much like a spoon of table sugar. So treat them the same way, as a rare small treat, eaten at the end of a meal on top of protein and fiber. Not as a free pass, because the label says natural. The third myth is a dangerous one, and it is this: if I feel fine, my blood sugar must be fine. I wish that were true, but high blood sugar is often silent, especially in older adults. Many people feel perfectly normal for years while their sugar runs high, which is exactly why it earned the nickname of a quiet condition. You cannot always feel it. That is not a reason to worry. It is a reason to check, and to build these steady habits even on the days you feel great, because feeling fine and being steady are not always the same thing, and the habits protect you either way. The fourth myth is, I am too old for this to matter now. Please let that one go because it is simply not so. Your body responds to steadier days at any age, and the benefits, the clearer head. The steadier energy, the kinder treatment of your feet and eyes and mind begin right away. You are not too old. You are exactly the right age to start being kind to yourself, and your body will meet you halfway faster than you expect. And the fifth myth is, it is all in my genes, so nothing I do makes a difference. Your family history does matter, that is true. And if blood sugar trouble runs in your family, you were dealt a harder hand. But your daily habits still decide how that hand gets played. Genes may load the situation, but your morning choices are what pull the day one way or the other. Two people with the very same family history can have very different mornings, depending on what they do in that window before breakfast. So your habits are not powerless against your genes. Your habits are how you answer them. Now let me give you a simple way to see all of this working with your own eyes. Because nothing will keep you going like watching your own numbers improve. If you have a home meter, and many of you do, use it like a curious scientist studying your own body, not like a judge grading yourself. For a few days, check your fasting number when you wake, before you eat or drink anything but water. Then, on a morning when you eat, check again about 2 hours after you start your breakfast. Write down 3 simple things on a scrap of paper or a little notebook: the date, your morning number, and your after-breakfast number. And next to it, jot what you did, whether you walked, what you ate, whether you ate the protein first. Do that for a week or two, and something wonderful happens. You start to see your own patterns. You see, in your own numbers, that the mornings you walked after breakfast were gentler than the mornings you sat down. You see that the day you had eggs, and berries was steadier than the day you had juice and toast. You stop taking my word for it and start seeing your own proof, and your own proof is the strongest motivation there is. You become the expert on your own body because you are watching it answer you day by day. And when you visit your doctor, bring that little log with you. It tells the story of your days better than any single reading in the office, and it helps you and your doctor make good decisions together. One more time, gently, because it matters. If your numbers start coming down and you are on medicine, do not adjust your own medicine ever. Bring the good news and the log to your doctor, and let the two of you decide together what comes next. Your job is to build the steady days and to watch them add up. Your doctor's job is to steer the medicine. Together, you are a strong team, and you are the most important player on it. All right, I have given you the why deeply and honestly, and I have given you the how. And I have named the traps and the extras and answered the real questions. Now let me end the way I promised, by putting it all onto a plate. Here are several full breakfasts, easy enough to make on a sleepy morning, each one built on protein, fiber, and healthy fat, each one slow and steady, each one ready to be eaten in the right order, and followed by a short walk. Pick the one that fits your morning, or rotate through them so you never get bored, because a breakfast you enjoy is a breakfast you will keep. The first breakfast is a savory vegetable and egg scramble, and it is my favorite for a morning when you have a few minutes at the stove. You will need 2 eggs, a handful of spinach or any soft vegetable you like, such as chopped mushrooms, tomato, or bell pepper, a small spoon of olive oil, and a sprinkle of cheese if you enjoy it. Warm the olive oil in a pan over gentle heat. Toss in your vegetables and let them soften for a couple of minutes, so they are warm and tender. Crack in your 2 eggs and stir slowly until they are just set, soft and not dry. Add your sprinkle of cheese and a little pepper or herbs for flavor. That is the whole meal, and look at what it is. The eggs and cheese are your protein and healthy fat, the breaks. The vegetables are your fiber. There is no fast sugar anywhere in sight. If you want a piece of bread with it, make it 1 slice of real whole grain bread, dense and seedy, not fluffy white. And here is the key: eat it last, after the eggs and vegetables are gone, so your gut is already coated and slowed before the bread arrives. Sip your diluted vinegar and water alongside if you like it. Then, when you finish, do not sink into your chair. Get up and take your 10 to 15-minute walk. That plate plus that walk is a little masterclass in steady blood sugar, and it took you 10 minutes to make. The second breakfast is for the person who wants to do the work the night before and wake up to a meal already waiting. It is overnight oats, and it is built to be a soluble fiber powerhouse for that all-day second meal effect. The night before, in a jar or a bowl, put half a cup of rolled oats, not the sweet instant packets, just plain rolled oats. Add a big tablespoon of chia seeds and a tablespoon of ground flaxseed, our soluble fiber champions. Pour in enough milk to cover it all, dairy milk or an unsweetened plant milk, whichever you use. Stir in a spoon of plain Greek yogurt for extra protein and creaminess. Stir it all together, cover it, and leave it in the refrigerator overnight. While you sleep, the oats and chia soak up the liquid and turn soft and thick, that soft gel forming right there in the jar. In the morning, it is ready and waiting. Top it with a small handful of berries, which are the lowest sugar and highest fiber fruit, and a handful of chopped nuts or a spoon of nut butter for protein and healthy fat, and a light sprinkle of cinnamon for flavor. Do not add sugar or honey. The berries are your sweetness, and once your tongue adjusts, they will taste plenty sweet. Look at this bowl. Oats, chia, and flax for soluble fiber. Yogurt and nuts for protein and fat. Berries for gentle fiber and natural sweetness. It is slow sugar from the first bite to the last, and it feeds your gut helpers to calm your lunch hours later. Eat it and then, you know exactly what comes next. Take your walk. The third breakfast is the quickest of all, for the mornings when you have almost no time and no patience. And it proves that a steady breakfast does not have to be fancy or slow. It is a Greek yogurt bowl. Start with a cup of plain Greek yogurt. Plain, not the fruit-flavored kind that is loaded with hidden sugar. Plain Greek yogurt is thick with protein, your breaks, right there in the base. Stir in a tablespoon of ground flaxseed or chia for soluble fiber. Add a small handful of berries for sweetness and gentle fiber. Add a small handful of nuts or seeds, walnuts, almonds, pumpkin seeds, whatever you like, for healthy fat and a little crunch. A sprinkle of cinnamon if you enjoy it. And that is it. No cooking, no stove, 90 seconds of stirring. Protein, fiber, and fat in one bowl. No fast sugar anywhere. And naturally in the right order because it is all mixed together, and there is no starch to spike you. Have your water, have your vinegar if you like it, eat your bowl, and then get up and take your walk. Even on your busiest morning, you can do this one. The fourth breakfast is for the folks who love something warm and savory, and filling that is not eggs. It is a bowl of cottage cheese with savory toppings, or if you want something heartier, warm beans. Cottage cheese is quietly one of the best breakfast foods for steady blood sugar, because it is very high in protein and low in fast sugar. Take a cup of cottage cheese, and instead of the usual sweet toppings, go savory. Add sliced tomato, a little cucumber, a sprinkle of seeds, a drizzle of olive oil and some pepper or herbs. It tastes fresh and light and keeps you full for hours. If you prefer beans, warm a small bowl of any beans you like. Black beans, pinto, chickpeas, whatever you have with a little olive oil and spice, and have them with a soft cooked egg on top. Beans are a rare food that carries protein and soluble fiber together in the same bite, which makes them a steady blood sugar champion, and they are cheap and filling. Whichever you choose, cottage cheese or beans, you have protein, fiber, and fat, no fast sugar, eaten savory first, and then, of course, the walk. And here is a simple week you can follow, so you never have to wonder in the morning. On the first day, make the savory egg scramble. On the second day, wake to your overnight oats that you set the night before. On the third day, the quick yogurt bowl. On the fourth day, the cottage cheese or beans. On the fifth day, back to eggs. On the sixth day, oats again. On the seventh day, whatever sounded best that week. 4 easy breakfasts, rotated, and every single one followed by water first, movement, the right order at the table, and the walk after. You do not need 20 recipes. You need 4 good ones you will actually make, and the steady routine around them. Let me bring you back to Margaret for a moment, because I told you her story at the start, and you deserve to see how it can turn. Picture someone like Margaret, 73, who used to wake to a stubborn high number and a foggy, tired mid-morning, no matter how careful she was. Now picture her new morning, the one she built out of these small pieces. She wakes, and before her feet even feel fully awake, she reaches for the glass of water she set by her bed the night before, with a squeeze of lemon in it, and she drinks the whole thing. She does not rush to the kitchen. She stands, she stretches, she does a few slow marches in place, and stands up and sits down from her sturdy chair a handful of times, holding the counter, just 10 gentle minutes to wake her muscles, and let them burn down the sugar her liver poured in overnight. Then she makes a simple breakfast, 2 eggs with a little spinach, and a slice of dense whole grain bread. And she eats it in the new order, the eggs and spinach first, the bread last and slow, with a glass of water and a spoon of vinegar stirred in beside it. And then, the part that used to feel so strange and now feels like second nature, she does not sit down. She gets up and takes a slow, easy walk. around the block if the weather is kind, around the inside of the house if it is not, just 12 or 15 minutes, while her breakfast is still moving through her. And here is what she notices, not overnight, but over a couple of weeks of doing it. The mid-morning fog that used to swallow her by 10 o'clock starts to lift. Her energy holds steadier through the morning. She is not ambushed by that shaky, desperate hunger that used to send her back to the kitchen. And when she checks her little meter and writes the number in her notebook, she watches it, morning by morning, settle into a gentler place. Nothing dramatic, no miracle, just a steadier number and a clearer head built from a handful of small, smart moves in the right window, done again and again, until they became simply the way she starts her day. When she brings her notebook to her doctor, they look at it together and they are pleased, and they decide the next steps as a team, because Margaret never changes her own medicine. She just builds the steady days and lets her doctor steer the rest. That is the whole promise of this, made real in one ordinary life. Margaret did not become a different person. She did not starve herself or spend money she did not have or exhaust herself at a gym. She just learned how her own body works, and she started helping the parts that had gotten slow and working around the locks that had gotten stiff. You can be Margaret. That new morning is not out of reach for you. It is a glass of water, 10 minutes of movement, a savory plate eaten in the right order, and a short walk after. That is it. That is the whole thing that changes the day, and you can begin it tomorrow. Now let me tie a bow on all of it, and let me say the core message one final time, in the plainest words I have, because I want it to stay with you long after this video ends, and my voice is gone. Your morning blood sugar is not your fault, and it is not a mystery. Your own body raises it while you sleep, through the dawn phenomenon, and as we age, we simply get slower at bringing it back down. So the answer is not to eat less and feel hungry and miserable all day. The answer is to use the quiet window before breakfast and the meal itself to slow the sugar down and give it somewhere to go. You drink water to thin things out and help your kidneys clear the extra. You move your body so your muscles drink the sugar down on their own without needing strong insulin. You build your plate on protein, fiber, and healthy fat instead of fast sugar. You eat in the right order, savory first, starch last. You use a little diluted vinegar as a modest helper. And above all, above everything else, you take a short, easy walk after you eat to catch the spike at its peak and shave it down, and to set a steady, calm tone that carries all the way through your day, right up to bedtime, through the gift of the second meal effect. None of these is hard, none of these costs much. And you do not have to do all of them perfectly on day one, and you never will do all of them perfectly, and that is fine, because this is not about perfect. Start with the two easiest and most powerful. Eat your protein and vegetables first and your starch last, and walk for 10 minutes after breakfast, just those two. Do those two for 1 week, and watch what happens to your morning numbers and to how you feel by mid-morning. Then add the morning water. Then add the better plate and the fiber. Then add the little tablespoon of vinegar in water. Stack them the way we said, one small smart move at a time, until the whole morning becomes a quiet, steady thing you do without even thinking about it, as natural as brushing your teeth. And please, do not do it alone in the dark. Keep your doctor and your pharmacist in the loop, especially if you take medicine for your blood sugar, because these habits are powerful and they work with your medicine, not instead of it. Keep checking your numbers, because your own numbers are the truest teacher you will ever have. And they will show you plainly what is working for your body and what is not. This is not about replacing your care. It is about giving your care a strong, daily partner And that partner is you, every single morning, making a handful of small, wise choices in the right window. You are over 70. You have handled far harder things in your life than a bowl of oatmeal and a walk around the block. This is well within your reach, easily. Tomorrow morning, before the coffee, before the toast, before anything at all, drink your water, move a little, build your plate the smart way, eat in the right order, and then get up and walk. Give it 1 week. Give your body a real chance to show you what steady feels like. I think it will surprise you in the best way. If this helped you understand your own body a little better, tell me down in the comments which one you are going to try first tomorrow. The walk after breakfast, the food order, or the morning glass of water. I read them, and I truly love hearing what works for you and your family. Take good care of yourself. Start small, start tomorrow, and I will see you in the next one.